Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna be learning about Australia. We'll start with the history. James Cook, also known as Captain Cook, a British explorer and navigator, discovered Australia on 19th April 1770. People have lived in Australia for over 65,000 years. The first people who arrived in Australia were the Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islanders. It was the English explorer Matthew Flinders who made the suggestion of the name we use today. He was the first to circumnavigate the continent in 1803 and used the name Australia to describe the continent on a hand-drawn map in 1804. More than 160,000 convicts were transported to Australia from England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales in lieu of being given the death penalty. Australia became an independent nation on 1st January 1901, when the British Parliament passed legislation allowing the 6 Australian colonies to govern in their own right as part of the Commonwealth of Australia. The Commonwealth of Australia was born in 1901 with Britain controlling foreign policy. Independence was offered in 1931 and taken up in late 1942. Here are the top 5 cities in Australia with some of the famous destinations. Sydney, Opera House. The Opera House is the place which lights up at fireworks. The Harbour Bridge is a tourist attraction and is very important. Bondi Beach. Bondi Beach is one of the most famous beaches in the world. Taronga Zoo. Taronga Zoo is an amazing zoo located in an island near the city. Darling Harbour. Darling Harbour is very awesome and it's a place to go. Melbourne, MCG. MCG is the biggest cricket stadium in the world, also known as Melbourne Cricket Ground. Royal Botanic Gardens is a beautiful place to have lunch and go for a walk. Melbourne Zoo. Melbourne Zoo is one of the most popular zoos in Australia. Yarra River. Yarra River is a main river that is 242 kilometers. Queen Victoria Market is a very crowded market but very famous. Brisbane. The South Bank is an educational place near one of Brisbane's rivers. Museum of Brisbane is very important and is a good place to visit. QAGOMA stands for Queensland Art Gallery of Modern Art. Queen Street Mall is a good place to explore. Perth. Pinnacles Desert. Pinnacles Desert is a famous place in Australia that holds the pinnacles in a rocky desert. Kings Park. Kings Park is also very famous and is a place for kids and parents to go for a nice long walk and to see a great view of some rivers in Perth. Swan River. Swan River is one of the biggest rivers in Australia and it's also a good place to see some swimming ducks. The Perth Mint is a government place to see some history of some gold. Perth Zoo. Perth Zoo is also another interesting zoo to enjoy. Adelaide. Adelaide Oval. Adelaide Oval is a very attractive stadium with beautiful sights. Central Market. Central Market is a big market and is also very crowded. Adelaide Zoo. Adelaide Zoo is a very cool zoo with over 3,000 animals. Barossa Valley. Barossa Valley is a very attractive place to go and it's one of the best wine producing regions in the world. Glenelg. Glenelg is a very small suburb and has a famous beach to go to. Some more visiting places you can go to is like the Uluru in Northern Territory, Gold Coast in Queensland, Kangaroo Island south of South Australia, Darwin in Northern Territory and Hobart in Tasmania. Main sports and games. Cricket. Cricket Australia, formerly known as the Australian Cricket Board, is the governing body for professional and amateur cricket in Australia. It was originally formed in 1905 as the Australian Board of Control for International Cricket. It is incorporated as Australian Public Company, limited by guarantee. AFL, the Australian Football League, is the pre-eminent and only fully professional men's competition of Australian rules football. Through the AFL Commission, the AFL also serves as the sport's governing body and is responsible for controlling the laws of the game. NRL, the National Rugby League, is Australia's top-level domestic men's rugby league club competition. It contains clubs from the original Sydney Club Rugby League competition, which had been running continuously since 1908. Tennis. Tennis Australia is the governing body for the sport of tennis in Australia. They also promote tennis and to conduct domestic and international tournaments on behalf of Australia, including the Australian Open and the Davis Cup for the Australian Davis Cup team. Basketball. Basketball Australia is the governing and controlling body of basketball in Australia, responsible for the development and promotion of sport at all levels. Soccer. Football Federation Australia is the governing body of soccer and beach soccer within Australia. The FFA is headquartered in Sydney. Although the first governing body of the sport was founded in 1911, FFA in its current form was only established in 1963 as the Australian Soccer Federation. Swimming. Swimming Australia is the peak governing body for competitive swimming in Australia. The body has approximately 100,000 registered members nationally in 1,100 clubs across the country, which includes swimmers, coaches, officials, administrations, and volunteers. Seasons. Summer, December to February. Autumn, March to May. Winter, June to August. Spring, September to November. Top rivers. Murray River. The Murray River is Australia's longest river, at 2,508 kilometres in length. The Murray rises in the Australian Alps, draining the western side of Australia's highest mountains. Darling River. The Darling River is the third longest river in Australia, measuring 1,472 kilometres from its source in northern New South Wales, with confluence with the Murray River at Wentworth, New South Wales. Yarra River. The Yarra River, or historically the Yarra River, is a perennial river in east-central Victoria, Australia. The lower stretches of the river are where the city of Melbourne was established in 1835, and today Greater Melbourne dominates and influences the landscape of its lower reaches. Lachlan River. The Lachlan River is an intermittent river that is part of the Murrumbidgee catchment with the Murray River Murray-Darling Basin, located in the southern tablelands, central west and Riverina regions of New South Wales, Australia. Macquarie River. Macquarie River, a watercourse that is part of Macquarie Barton catchment within the Murray-Darling Basin, is one of the main inland rivers in New South Wales, Australia. Famous people. Christopher Hemsworth, born 11th August 1983, is an Australian actor who played a star on the Avengers movies. Nicole Mary Kidman is an Australian actress and producer. She has won many awards, including an Academy Award, 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, and 5 Golden Globe Awards. She was listed among the highest paid actress in the world in 2006, 2018, and 2019. Shane Keith Vaughan is an Australian cricket commentator and former international cricketer who captained the Australian national team. Jonathan Dean Thurston, born 25th April 1983, is an Australian former professional rugby league footballer who played in NRL. Thurston was an Australian international, Queensland State of Origin and Indigenous All-Star representative. He played as a halfback or fifth eight and was noted a goalkeeper. Sir Donald George Bradman, born 27th August 1908 and died 25th February 2001, nicknamed The Don, was an Australian international cricketer, widely acknowledged as the greatest batsman of all time. Bradman's career test batting average has been called 99.94, has been cited as the greatest achievement by any sportsman in any major sport. Top airlines. Qantas. Qantas is the largest airline in Australia and is domestic and international. Jetstar. Jetstar Airways, trading as Jetstar, is an Australian low-cost airline, self-described as value-based. Headquartered in Melbourne, it is a wholly owned subsidiary of Qantas. created in response to the threat posed by Australian Virgin Australia. Tiger Air. Tiger Airways Australia, operating as Tiger Air Australia, is an Australian low-cost airline. It commenced services in the Australian domestic airline market on 23rd November 2007 as Tiger Airways Australia. Tiger Air Australia is owned and managed by Virgin Australia Holdings. Rex. Regional Express is an Australian airline based in Mascot, New South Wales. It operates scheduled regional services. It is Australia's largest regional airline outside the Qantas group of companies and served New South Wales, South Australia, Victoria, Queensland, Tasmania and Western Australia. Virgin. Virgin Australia Airlines, commonly referred to as Virgin Australia, is one of the largest airlines operating in Australia and is the largest airline by fleet size to use the Virgin brand. It commenced services on 31st August 2000 as Virgin Blue with 2 aircraft on a single route. Facts. The population of Australia is 25 million. The current female population is 50.2 and the current male population is 49.8. The currency of Australia is Australian dollars. The Australian dollar code is AUD. It's the currency of Australia, including its external territories, Christmas Island, Keeling and Norfolk Island. It is officially used as currency by 3 independent Pacific Island states, Kiribati, Nauru and Tuvalu. It is legal tender in Australia. The area of Australia is 7.692 million square kilometres, which makes it the 6th largest country in the world. The national animal is a kangaroo and it's a very native animal to Australia and they can only be found in Australia. The national bird is the emu and this bird can't fly and is one of the largest birds. It's also a very native animal to Australia. The capital of Australia is Canberra. And for thousands of years, the indigenous people lived in Canberra region and the name Canberra is believed to be derived from an indigenous word meaning meeting place. The first European explorers arrived in the Canberra area in 1820 and the first settlers came in 1824. The main language spoken is English. Australia has 6 states and 2 territories. New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, Tasmania, Western Australia and South Australia are states, and Northern Territory and the ACT are territories. The biggest state is Western Australia with an area of 2.646 million kilometres squared. Here are some fun facts. Qantas stands for Queensland and Northern Territory Aerial Services. Tasmania has the cleanest air in the world. The Great Barrier Reef is the biggest ecosystem in the world. 80% of the animals are unique to Australia. 90% of Australians live on the coast and all the capital cities are on the coast of this state. The Australian Alps get more snow than the Switzerland Alps. Exports and imports. The top 5 exports. The top exports of Australia are iron ore, $48.2 billion, coal, $47 billion, gold, $29.1 billion, petroleum gas, $20.3 billion, and wheat, $4.88 billion. The top 5 imports. Machinery, $46.2 billion, mineral fuels, $43.9 billion, vehicles, $43.6 billion, electrical machinery and equipment, $37 billion, medical equipment, $12 billion.